Hello and welcome to the Poke and Knuckles show. Right, Back to the Future.
Yes.
Fact battle, Back to the Future. We're getting into it. Poke, you go first.
Okay, I'm starting with my first fact, and the film actually shouldn't have been called Back to the Future. Well, Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale would have wanted to call it that, but Sid Sheinberg, the then head of Universal Pictures, would request that nobody would watch a film with the word future in the title, and suggested other titles such as Spaceman from Pluto, which refers to the line of Marty saying, "I'm Darth Vader from planet Vulcan," and I'm a space man from Pluto, and he was pursued to change this mind because Steven Spielberg thanked him for this recommendation and said this was a wonderful joke memo and everyone got a laugh out of this, and we had a fun time with this joke idea. So Sheinberg, being a proud man, never wanted to admit that he was serious and completely dropped the claim.
Thank you for stealing my fact. I will tell you exactly the quote. Sid, thanks for your most humorous memo. We all got a big kick out of it. Thanks, Steven. Fact number 2.
That must have been a kick in the
That
skies.
was brilliant. What a way to manage your producers. You're like, yeah, just thank you. It was a great joke.
Thank you, Gil. Fun
Excellent
times.
news.
Now let's continue the serious work.
continue.
Such as the next fact, which is I think the shortest fact that I have ever produced here. The script, before being made and greenlit, was rejected 44 different times.
Wow. Speaking
By
of
different
this,
studios.
Speaking of this, so the car that Marty drives, the immortal DeLorean. Before this, they had 2 ideas. The first one, Marty would go into a time chamber. The second one, walk into a fridge. But Spielberg rejected this idea because he thought kids would start walking into fridges. And they're like, yeah, well, we can't be doing this. So DeLorean was born.
So he left the fridge idea for the brilliant Indiana Jones 4.
Well, he left the fridge open.
I have another fact. In the original script, because Marty and Doc Brown had to do something to finance their time travel things, so they started selling bootleg copies of films in order to finance their trips. Universal, for some inexplicable reasons, did not like the idea to have their film promote film piracy and asks them please do something else.
Okay, fine, let's get into it. You remember when Marty drives the DeLorean and the tracks go on fire and then the car disappears? So this is 2 films actually put one on top of each other. First it was gasoline spread out in the same width as the DeLorean car, lit up. They shot this, and then they shot another film of them driving on the exact same area, tire tracks basically, and then they put that car on top of this.
Yes, of course, this makes sense, because the gasoline, if they were to prepare it, it would evaporate too quickly. Even the car driving across these trails would basically destroy this. But you can see this composite shot, even though, by the way, a rejected fact that I did not use for this is the film, the first one, only has 39 visual effects. Everything else was made in camera. But the next fact that I wanted to say is when Hill Valley was created for the first movie, they built the set in its pristine 1955 look, then destroyed it to get the 1985 look, but then when they made the second one, they had to start from the destroyed set and rebuild the older one, which cost twice as much as building the set in the first place.
You speak of costing, so I don't quite understand this, because this is the fact. The famous clock tower climax. This wasn't part of the script. It was actually going to be from a nuclear reactor experiment gone wrong, and then the DeLorean comes back, goes forward. Anyway, goes into the time zone that was supposed to be there, but it proved too expensive. I mean, destroying 3 sets is not expensive, but having one nuclear reactor is. Anyway, yes. Interesting concept.
By
there.
the way, why do you pronounce the car's name
Oh,
that
DeLorean.
wrong? Yes, isn't it the DeLorean?
DeLorean. I quite like DeLorean. Do continue. Where's
Okay,
the next
I
fact?
continue with my last fact. The funny thing is, when in 1985, Doc Brown said that he's somewhat disbelieved that an actor could become president at the time when Ronald Reagan was the president. And of course, when they did this, every line where they referenced Mr. President Ronald Reagan had to be approved by the White House in order to not have any bad thing mocking basically
Bad
the
press.
president. But Ronald Reagan liked this scene so much that when he was shown the film, he requested the projectionist to rewind the film so that he could watch it again. So in the second film, he was approached to play the part of Major Hubert because of his fondness for the first film. I think it was the third, I forgot. He was approached, but he had to turn down the role. So
Because he was the president.
yes, Hugh Gillen was cast instead. But had he appeared, that would have been his first appearance in a film in nearly 30 years.
Wow. Last fact. So the movie, Bob Gale based this idea on a high school yearbook.
Yeah.
There were three concepts. First concept, a high school kid gets sent back in time. Second concept, he meets his parents. Third concept, his mother falls in love with him. However, there was another concept that actually inspired the movie. It was, could him and his father become friends? And that is going back to the future.
And
Really?
that, I think, is
That was
a
it.
less creepy context than asking myself, would my mother want to bone me 30 years
what
ago?
was going on there?
That is a thought that we would like to leave in your hats. Ask yourself these questions. Please do not, I repeat, do not give us the answer to this
Read some
question
Sigmund Freud
in
if
the
you need to.
comments below. But tell us your favorite Back to the Future facts if you have any that you think we left out. Anyways, we will see you guys again next week for the next episode of the Pork and Knuckles Show.
Take care.